ladies, welcome back to another weekly episode of Simplicity TV. It's just the girls here. It's just me and Charlie hanging out on the couch for one of our couch sessions. I am Jen Pike, for those of you if you are tuning in for the first time. I'm the founder of the Hormone Project, Synced, and The Audacious Woman. And I want to chat with you today about your thyroid. So this is obviously a massive topic. I say to women, like, I could move you into my house for a week and we could chat every day, all day, because there's just so much to know. And I will preface this by saying, I don't know you. I don't know specifically what's going on with your signs and symptoms, if you're on medication, if you're already working with someone, if you have other cofactors that are going on. So I want you to hear what I'm saying today, but I also want you to take it in and understand how this relates to you and your body, okay? So today's episode is going to be about signs and symptoms that something could potentially be off in your thyroid. So first thing is that you are struggling with your body weight. You are struggling with your body temperature. You are cold all the time. You have really low energy. Your sleep is off. Even your mood is off. So oftentimes women will describe that they have a lot of brain fog. They can also get a lot of headaches, or they just feel overwhelmed and anxious often. Heart palpitations can be another one. Actually feeling when they swallow that it feels like they've got like a lump in their throat. Some women might actually feel a goiter and sometimes nodules. Oftentimes nodules we see in ultrasound, but some women will actually say, no, I can literally feel that there is something going on my thyroid in this area of my throat. Lack of sex drive, lack of energy as a whole. So I don't just mean energy where you don't feel like you can get up and go run a marathon. I mean just to get through the daily things that you actually love. So you have things that bring you joy that you're super passionate about, and it's getting more and more challenging to be able to move through them. Joint pain is another one. Stiffness, numbness in certain areas as well too. Digestive things can be off. Low iron can be attributed to what is going on with the thyroid. Low vitamin D, low B12. So there's a lot of synergistic things that can be happening. Menstrual irregularities, not having a period, having too heavy of a period. There can be a lot of different things that are happening and that are going on that can mimic something else. And this is why I'm so passionate about you understanding that it is your right to have a full thyroid panel done. And it's a challenge nowadays. You will go to your doctor and they will only measure your TSH, which is your thyroid stimulating hormone, as a marker of how well that your thyroid is doing. Now, the problem with this is we're really measuring 1/5 the minimum what we should be when we're looking at total thyroid health. So that signaling mechanism, that TSH, that is actually coming via the pituitary gland in your brain. Your pituitary gland as a woman is also responsible for your follicular stimulating hormone, your luteinizing hormone, and where the signal goes to the ovaries to actually ovulate. There can be a lot of communication breakdown that happens in the pituitary gland and a lot of deficiencies and inflammation that can contribute to either having a dysregulated TSH, meaning it would be too high or too low, or you can have it where it shows up totally normal and a woman is told you're fine. Like, we tested your thyroid, everything is fine. Two things. First of all, they did not test your thyroid gland. They tested the signaling to your gland. Second of all, that is only one marker. So maybe you're a woman where the signaling is not the issue. The problem is that your thyroid gland itself is not producing enough or too much of free T4 and then free T3, which is the metabolically active form of your thyroid hormone. Now, if you think about this in terms of like 100%, so your thyroid being 100% the gland that it is, about 80% of what it produces is free T4. And the rest is T3. Now, T3 is the active form. This is what's going to support your metabolism, your body temperature, your brain, your cognition, all of those things. This conversion, more of it happens in the liver and in the gut than it does in the thyroid. So what that means is your thyroid produces it, then it has to be shuttled down to the liver and to the gut for the remaining activation and conversion to actually happen. So if you're tired, cold, exhausted, no sex drive, hair is falling out, eyebrows are thinning, your nails are brittle, you can't lose weight, all of those things, you're constipated, that's another huge one, is the bowels go wonky because T3 is responsible for motility. So if your active metabolic thyroid hormone is low, you probably are going to struggle with constipation or have pellet poop or struggle and take a long time to have a bowel movement, those types of things. So we need to measure and see how much are you producing, what is your conversion, okay? So that's test 2 and 3, free T4 and free T3. Then we want to look at something called reverse T3. Now, reverse T3 is a biomarker that shows us if there's inflammation specific to your thyroid in your body. If you have elevated reverse T3 blocks the bioactive T3, that one we were just talking about that helps with your metabolism, your hair growth, your temperature, your bowels, all of it. It prevents it from being able to get into the receptor sites in the cells. And so again, you could have TSH, free T4, free T3 be measured. They're kind of suboptimal, like medically they're in the reference range, but you've got every single sign and symptom. If we don't measure the reverse T3 to understand like, oh my gosh, this woman's marker for inflammation in her thyroid is super high. She's probably not getting any of this active T3. That's a problem. We're only doing part of the job with you. And then the other two factors would be looking at your antibodies. Now, the thyroid antibodies are most important when we have a woman who shows signs and symptoms of thyroid, but she has those palpitations, she has other issues going on. The gut is an issue, joints an issue, skin, it's exacerbated, and she's had these symptoms for a long time and no one's been really doing the digging. If her antibodies are elevated, this is Hashimoto's. So Hashimoto's thyroiditis is the autoimmune form. It is actually the most common form of thyroid disease that is most prevalent now. Now, the rate of women being diagnosed with thyroid cancer is climbing. It is climbing at an alarming rate as well too. And when you look at these women's, history and you look at, blood work that was done on all of that, time and time again, you'll see right here, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was flagged in your blood work or it was suboptimal, but nobody brought that to their attention. So they, moved around the issue. They didn't do what needed to be done. They didn't know. No one taught them. So when antibodies are elevated, the gut is involved. There is an autoimmune response. Now your immune system is actually starting to attack the healthy tissue of the thyroid gland. So we need to know these variables so that we understand, when we're working with women in the Hormone Project who have an underactive thyroid, there's a certain protocol for that. When we're working with women who have an overactive thyroid, certain protocol. A woman who has Hashimoto's, where now her immune system is involved in it, certain protocol. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And so it also does matter if you've been on thyroid medication for a long time, what it is that you're taking. If it's Synthroid and it's just pure T4, well, we need to do things to support you in a different way. If you're on naturally desiccated and you're getting T4, T3, T2, and T1, well, there's different ways that we're going to need to support your body and your system. If your adrenals are also taxed, which is almost always a given with your thyroid, we need support there as well too. So the reason that I'm painting this really big picture for you is so that you understand there's no one way, there is not one test, there is not one size fits all approach. You have to push for these tests. And if your doctor won't agree to do them, you offer to pay out of pocket. If they still won't agree to do them, go to a nurse practitioner. If that doesn't work, book with a naturopath. There is always a way to get these tests done. And you can't sit there and say, well, if it's not covered by OHIP, then I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry, but are you fucking kidding me? If you are going through any of those things that I just said and you're not feeling good, and you are telling me you can't afford a test that is probably gonna run you about $100 to find out the answers that can literally save your health and your life moving forward, but you're still going out and buying your clothes, you're still going out and buying the handbag, you're still ordering pizza and a bottle of wine on the weekend, you're lying to yourself. It's not that you can't afford it, you've not made it a big enough priority. And we have a huge problem, especially where I live in Canada, where you have been brainwashed to think that if it's not through OHIP, it's not important enough to test, and that it doesn't deserve your money and your attention. Absolute BS. The reason we have an epidemic of women's health issues going on, primarily thyroid, is because of that mentality and that rationale right there, and because you've not been taught that it is safe to use your voice, it is safe to fight for the test that you deserve, and that you need to ask the questions. It's not just about getting the test. Who's going to explain the results to you? How are you now going to know what to do with your results? You have to start to ask yourselves these questions. Okay, there are so many solutions we can create for you. We can help you, but you have to be willing to do the work and to jump right on in with us. So if this is something that has got you as lit up as I am right now, and you know that you're not feeling your best and you are craving to work with a team who can help you and support you on this, reach out to my team, hello@jenpike.com, and we will connect you with the perfect practitioner for you to be working with. Have an awesome rest of your day, ladies.